All right, it is BCB Live time here in Mansfield, Texas. Sir Rick, John Travolta coming to you live right here. Drive Say Dave, I'm digging the hair, baby. I like it. Go grease lightning. Wow, what a college football weekend. Did you watch it?
Oh yeah, I watched. I didn't sit down and watch.
Oh, come on now. You had Alabama come back and played horrific. You know, they dropped down to number 4.
Overtime. I saw that.
It was miserable game, hard game to watch.
Overtimes.
They do win the game. You have Georgia, Michigan, Cincinnati, Alabama, and some big games next week as we kind of tie it in. That Alabama-Georgia game is coming on.
Yeah.
Alabama has to win or they're out. I mean, these last 2 weeks, they're done if they don't make it in there.
Shady.
But I'm just going to say that Michigan team could have beat anybody in the country last Saturday when they beat Ohio State. The Ohio State for you Ohio State fans.
It did look good.
It didn't matter what Ohio State did. Michigan looked phenomenal.
And Georgia Tech doesn't. I mean, Georgia.
Sorry,
doesn't
not Michigan State too. I know the Michigan fans are going, what? What? We've been talking a little bit last Friday, right? We had the new variant come out.
Omicron.
Omicron. There you go. It has made landfall in North America, up north of us in Canada. But we saw the stock market just go crazy last week. Fell over 900 points. As well, we saw that diesel price just plummet down as well. 28.5 cents it went down. The second largest in the history of the contracted price. The first being like 29.5. And Drive Safe Dave, here we go. A little contest for you. The last drop happened January 17th. Now that's the day the market opened of 1991. Drive Safe Dave, for $50 towards some great benefit, can you tell us what happened in 1991 to make it plummet?
I'm going to go. It had everything to do with the war in Iraq.
Can you be more specific?
The invasion of Kuwait.
Allied forces. Yeah. Yes, I'll $50 to your favorite charity. Drive Safe Dave, great job on that. You know what? You don't challenge this guy in history. I'm just going to say, you don't do it at all. Great job on that, Drive Safe Dave. Indeed, you're 100% correct. Hey, we also, let's just talk a little bit. We talked last week again about some of the, it was Southwest, no, it was American Airlines. The flight attendants are getting karate lessons.
Yeah, they're getting boxing
lessons, saying, I challenge you, and here it happened again. This time on Spirit Airlines, which probably isn't a big shocker, right? I mean, I think you get angry just boarding Spirit Airlines. Let's just be honest.
When you look at your chair, you're like, what?
No, so the lady coming out of Fort Lauderdale going to Nashville, she was a little intoxicated, which seems to be, producer, right? I think that was one of the top 2 or 3 reasons was intoxication leading the list of that.
Yeah, it was one of the leading causes of people getting more unruly. And what's funny is the description of this lady. They were like, police took the woman into custody for, of course, public intoxication and, beating and pulling the hair out of some of the flight attendants. But they described her as having bloodshot eyes and a vicious look in her eyes. So she was ready for blood.
Yeah, she was out of control and again intoxicated. And what we know is 2 things, right? You don't get food on Spirit Airlines, so you don't get alcohol. So either she had to have boarded that plane probably halfway intoxicated already, in which she was yelling out. She was yelling, screaming out, I didn't do anything wrong and shoot me. And all I gotta say is be careful what you wish for. Woo!
Don't cry out, shoot me.
Yeah. Hey, Black Friday sales. Who's got the numbers on it? They're up. Foot traffic was up for certain from last year, but still like 20% under, 29% under where it was back in 2019 pre-pandemic.
Yeah, and from what I've been reading from just a few different places, it seems like spending was spread out more over the week as opposed to just on Black Friday. Right. I mean, so many shops now are opening up their doors online as early as Tuesday and just letting the sales run throughout the week. I think there's still a lot of places who are running sales throughout the rest of the day today. So we're going to see a lot of spending go through, but I believe it was up 7% from last year overall. but down on Black Friday itself.
You know, and you speak to that, and I'll tell you, on Saturday there was lines out on stores, but they were a lot smaller than they've been typically and historically. I know that Home Depot, I saw only 20 people out there, and then I saw on the news there was people over at Best Buy and different places like that. They had 6, 8 people. Normally they'd have been camping out for a week with 50 people, and now, and I do believe that is true. It is spread out over time.
Yeah, and as we go and look at the chart here, we're going to look at what's going on last Friday, right? We had Friday, the day after a holiday. Not a lot of freight going on. We'll get this thing out of the way here. Here we go. We see that freight really plummeted down to that 11,429 mark. And what I want you to see, though, when we talk about the volume, is up here is where we were last year. Last year being a record high when we talk volume, and it's down a little bit this year. Going down as it did last year, and it's not going to go up like it did last year. I think we know a couple things. Number one, the product's not available to even if you order it online, so why order it? But if we go back and we look out a little bit ahead of ourselves, we see right here, and I'm gonna help you out here, but we see where we are right now. Today, this is where we started out. Last year, we fell right around here, not much under, but we don't expect to see that same jump that we saw last year. Expect it to go right around here, kind of trickle down where we were last year, still considerably higher than any other year we've been at. And we're going to show you this. Remember, we look at our volume in the years past. Let's just change this to 3 years. We can go back and we can look at 3 years out if it'll do it. Here we go. Charts come out. Here's every other year period, 2 years, 3 years past. We are all the way down in that 7,300 mark. So significant increase in volume today versus those years past. Again, here's where we are every year. Here's where we are right now. Look at that difference right there. Over 3,300 shipments a day being shipped out every single day. Today at its lowest point than it did back on the highest point back in a couple of years ago. So it's absolutely amazing what we're seeing on here. And we also want to go back and look at the rejections real fast. We go back and we look at the rejections, and the crazy thing about rejections is they're talking about pricing, right? When we look at rejections, let's go to this one right here. Rejected freight right here at 20%. We see it at 20% right here. So it's going to continue to go, as when you have a lot of freight, you have rejections very high, it's going to just keep them prices up where they were. It's going to be curious to see, because here we go. This is the week, right? And we don't have the data yet.
Here we go, and we're talking about tailgating. Here would be just a prime example of, if you try count 1001 here when he goes past anything, it's not there. We need to slow it down. We need to back off. We're going to make a pass here. And if we're back, 4 seconds, we can still start that pass. We can still get over that lane. We just are too close here. We need to count it out.
Yeah, what we also, and we've seen it in videos from previous weeks, is we don't know what's in front of this truck. We don't know the debris that may or may not be there that he doesn't see or she doesn't see to the last second. They veer out of the way, and then we're in trouble.
Yep.
So here you basically, it happens all the time. You get into this situation because as you approach this vehicle, it's going at a slower rate than you are in the slow lane. But what you have to do is you have to understand that when you get here, back off immediately and then change your lanes. But react accordingly to each situation, waiting for the left lane to clear and staying next to this guy, hugging this guy and making it and doing that before you make your merge. That is the wrong way to make the play.
Yeah, it's hard to get to 1,000 on this. As a matter of fact, you don't get to 1,000 anywhere on this, not even 1,000. So we've got to just, again, if you're driving and you're behind this one, 1,000. I must back off. I must back off. That's what you tell yourself, and then you back off. Next one.
And the next one's going to show us, exactly what we're talking about. We start out really good here, but the vehicle ahead of us is starting to slow down. And instead of us slowing down right away, we start closing that space. We are not keeping that. We are not owning that space in front of us. We're not sure. We don't know what's going on, unless we have that big picture. And I think that vehicle is probably slowing down for the pedestrian and the car on the side of the road. But we have to own that space. We have to make those adjustments. As the vehicle and the traffic ahead of us, brake lights come on, we have to understand something is up there causing traffic to slow. We must slow with it. We got to keep that space there. you know, speed limit says 35 there, and we're talking about slowing down for the next 10 seconds of this video. We never get below 43. We've got to slow it down. Those signs are the law. I mean, it's not a suggestion. It's not saying, well, you know, everybody else is going that fast, so I can go that fast too. It is the law. We have to slow down. You know, we have to be the leaders in the industry. Just because everybody else in this video is driving that fast doesn't mean we should be, because we're breaking the law and we need to set the pace. And we're coming up to a stale green light here, and we're going to make a right-hand turn, and the light turns yellow. Driver had plenty of time to stop and should have stopped. I mean, just because we're making a right-hand turn does not mean we don't have to stop at that light. That light means, you know, the lane we're in, it means stop. And so just the fact that we're making that turn and we get in a hurry, and you know, what triggered this was the vehicle stability, because the driver's in a hurry to make it through that corner. Slow the chaos down.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. We talk about this all the time, and I get it. We're going to see that. We don't see all the good ones, right? We don't see all the times you stop when you're supposed to stop. We're talking about the ones that that create an alert. You know, we're getting a video sent in to us from companies or whatever that is. But we want to make sure that you know that you just have to stop doing this stuff. If you can't run yellow lights, you just can't do it. And again, you are the only ones that can stop this from happening. We can't sit back here and stop for you. It's got to be something that you are doing right there. You've got to stop. You've got to reduce your speed. When you're driving in a 35 mile an hour, you have to reduce your speed to the requirement. It's not, Drive Safe Dave says, a suggestion.
Yeah. You know, when we look at this one, if there's traffic behind us and they're way too close and they can't see the light in front of us, we turn to the right, and that car's probably going right through right now what would be a red light. Intersections are dangerous, and that's what happens. And so, you know, if we stop there, we protect the traffic and the people behind us. And we do have some, this one's good. This is driver is slowing down to do the weather and road conditions. The road is a little bit slick here, so the driver is slowing down. We're going about 30 miles an hour here. And so, I mean, has definitely taken it to heart that the weather and the road conditions have changed, and so I've adjusted my driving speeds. It's just a great video here. I love showing this one.
Yeah, for certain. I mean, you have to reduce, you have to adjust, reduce, you have to adjust your speed to the weather conditions. Drive Safe Day, we spoke about that earlier today, in the rain, fog, snow, ice, whatever it is, traffic. You know, if you're driving through it where there's a ball game that's letting out, you have to be prepared and you have to change according to your surroundings.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things here that are great to watch and to understand. Number one, we can't truly see the condition of the road by the video, right? We don't understand it as well as the driver does. The driver has full knowledge of what they're encountering and what they're doing. This looks to be also as a incline that the driver's going down, and also reduce speed to make sure that it stays in control of the vehicle all the way through the slope as they go down. Wow, what a great video! This is an outstanding video here.
You know, the next one is also, I mean, you know, we got, we're going slow through the curve, and this driver, you know, he slows down even more and moves as far as he can to the left, you know, to give that pedestrian in the vehicle, the broke down vehicle on the side of the road, as much room as possible. Because we never, you know, we always say expect the unexpected, and we don't know when somebody's going to step out from that, behind that vehicle, or open a door from that vehicle. So just another great job of the driver being aware of what's going on, giving as much room as possible and slowing down for it.
Yeah, I like the slowing down, especially if you're going to put your steer tire off of the roadway to make sure that the tail swing doesn't encounter the vehicles on the right. Great job here, in all around. Good job.
You know, and one more that's really good. You know, a driver in this video is stopped for an accident ahead of us, doing the right thing, trying to protect traffic, and all these four-wheelers are just too big a hurry. You know, we're all going to get there. We just have to do the right thing, the safest thing, and stop and wait for the road to clear. It's just an incredible video. Topic is defensive driving habits. You know, it's driving so as to prevent accidents in spite of the actions of others or the presence of adverse driving conditions. I mean, you know, and this involves the driver learning to give a little. And, you know, that really comes back to that slowing down, owning the space in front of you, you know, being aware of the big picture, you know, knowing that there's a merge point coming up. And so we have to slow down. We have to allow that space for the merge point. We have to expect the unexpected. You know, keep your eyes moving. Make sure we have, you know, leave ourselves an out. And so that's really what it's about, defensive driving habits. And as the traffic picks up this holiday season, we have to make sure that we're doing it and with that space. It is so conscious because it's so easy to think, oh, I'm a good judge of distance. But in the reality, most of us are not. And so the only way to really do it is, with the new artificial intelligence that shows us that, or the old way, count it out. When they go past a marker or something, you start counting 1001, 1002. It takes some discipline. And then when you realize you're too close, slow it down, back off, own that space. Somebody may catch off, but then you just start, backing off and owning that space again.
All right, David Mason, what you got going on? How about you, Mr. Mason?
There we go. Just two things. First of all, it's like the 275, I believe, there in West Memphis, but that's secondary.
It's not
The other thing is that second video, the one where the car is slowing down in the right lane. I just wanted to mention that we talk about owning the space, and Dave has said it before. As your speed decreases, it looks like we're slowing down here. We are gaining on the car, so we need to slow down a little bit more. But I want everybody to realize that, like Dave says, that you don't have to keep the exact same distance as you slow down, but because as your speed gets slower, you're going to keep the same time, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And so in this one, I think the driver, like, it's kind of a nitpicky video. Like, he is slowing down maybe just a little bit more to keep that, we closed just maybe a little bit right there at the end. But right there before the end, he was slowing down with the car. And even though the distance was getting a little bit closer, we still had a decent time right to the very end of the video there.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
And
at the very end, we've gotten a little too close, and I agree with what you're saying. And I think we hear you loud and clear. And what Mr. Mason's saying is that obviously, as you slow down, again, if you're counting though, like you had said, Mr. Mason, I think that really does help you on your space, because the slower you are, you're still going to have a little bit of space in between you, as opposed to 1 second. And that's what we don't want. And great point on that is. We've got to still have to manage that space between us and that vehicle in front of us. Producer, who do you have?
Yeah, we got Lonnie Payne. What do you got for us today, sir?
What's going on, Mr. Payne?
Morning, gentlemen. How's everybody?
Doing
going on,
well,
Lonnie?
doing well, Lonnie.
I just wanted to point out a couple of things. With these winter conditions coming, and they're here. But we talk about a lot. Our driving abilities and with the conditions and stuff. And it's so important, especially for people that may not have, they may only have, a couple of years or 5 years, whatever. It's very important to realize that you can't ever exceed the limitations of your equipment and or your experience level, because, you can get in a jam in a hurry. And then the second part is, even though we're in peak season, the customers are screaming for freight. Everybody wants to go, go, go. You can't compromise in our safety beliefs. You just can't do it. I mean, I seen a fatality accident yesterday with 3 trucks and several vehicles. I just thought not only how sad it was of the loss of life, but there was freight scattered all over the interstate. And I thought, they risked their life, they compromised their safety beliefs, all for not only are they dead, but the freight didn't get anywhere. It's scattered all over the road. So the people still aren't going to get it. So when you get in a hurry and you compromise your safety beliefs, you're not accomplishing anything. You're putting yourself at risk. You're putting everything at risk. So I just like for everybody to kind of, as they say, slow the chaos, but just stop and think about what you're really doing there. That's all I had. Love y'all. #family.